What's happening, everybody? Bob Wankel from crossingbroad.com here to talk about the Eagles and Bills monster game for your Philadelphia Eagles this week. It's almost as much of a must-win situation as you can possibly get in Week 8. With that being said, you can bet on this game. If you're in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, head over to crossingbroad.com/FB, download FoxBet. They'll give you $20 just for signing up, and they will match your first deposit up to $100.
You can make it rain.
All right, now let's get into this Eagles-Bills game. I liked the Eagles last week. I thought it would be a good bounce-back spot for them. Big game, national stage going up against a bitter rival in the Dallas Cowboys, and boy, was I wrong. Eagles were a complete disaster offensively. They were a disaster defensively. Team captains conflicting about who's late, what's going on in practice, how into it this team is. It's not good for the Eagles ahead of this one. And they're going on the road to what should be a raucous environment in upstate New York, playing a 5-1 Bills team that right now is playing excellent football on the defensive side of things. Can the Eagles bounce back this week in what is their third straight game on the road? Well, let's first take a look at the odds. Eagles are a 2.5-point underdog. Sunday night, they actually opened up as a 1-point dog, and it's moving in the opposite direction. They're plus 110 on the money line. Total set at 43.5 points for this game. Now, a lot will be made of the fact that the Eagles are playing their third straight game away from Lincoln Financial Field. Does that matter? All right, well, let's start with this. Underdogs that are playing their third straight game on the road are 29-29 against the spread. And they're also 20-16 ATS on the road as an underdog when they're playing their third straight game on the road. Why do I point that out? There's really no advantage here. It's to say that it really doesn't matter. When it comes to taking a team against the spread, the fact that they've been away for so many consecutive weeks doesn't really play a role. So you can kind of throw that one out right off the bat. However, here we go. This is interesting. Since Sean McDermott has become the Bills head coach, Buffalo is 9-1 straight up at home when they're favored. However, they are only 4-5-1 ATS, so not a great cover team as a home favorite, but they have been awesome winning the game outright, which obviously should give Eagles fans some pause. With that being said, a lot of what I dug up this week supports a play on the Eagles, and it kind of supports this idea that this is a good bounce-back spot. If the 2019 Eagles are going to be a playoff team, if they're going to make a run here in the second half, once they come back, take on the Bears, have the bye week, and try to go on a run, it's got to start Sunday. So here we go. Road dogs that have failed to cover its previous two games, playing a team coming off a win, as the Bills are. They knocked off the Dolphins last week. Those teams are 94-66-6 against the spread. That's a very large sample size and a very strong trend that backs the Eagles this week. Also, road underdogs of 2.5 points or less coming off of a loss of 25-plus points that are playing a team coming off a win are 3-1 ATS. So this is a monster blowout the previous week, coming off that blowout, playing a team that has a little bit of momentum. When you have a short spread like this, albeit it is a small sample size, it has been a favorable spot for that underdog. Here you go. Off of that, road dogs of 3 points or less that have a winning percentage of 25 to 50% worse than their opponent are 34-16-4 ATS overall. And when that winning percentage is 35 to 50% less than their opponent, those teams are 15-4-1 ATS. So that trend, or those trends I should say, scream a play on the Eagles. And finally, road dogs, again, short line, short spread type of situation here. Road dogs of 2.5 or less that didn't cover its previous two games that are playing a team coming off a win are 13-8 against the spread. And road dogs of 2.5 or less that failed to cover their previous two games and lost their previous game, playing a team that's coming off a win, 7-4 against the spread. And so what we're trying to illustrate here is that though things seem bleak for the Eagles, teams in similar situations that have struggled for consecutive weeks and maybe even gotten blown out in the previous week tend to bounce back in this spot with a short line on the road. Now, as far as the total goes in this game, couple things. I don't love it one way or the other. I don't know how much you can trust the Eagles' offense right now, even though this is a short line. Buffalo does have an elite defensive unit. And the Eagles are just really struggling to find some consistency on the offensive side of the football. That being said, the over is 19-9 in Eagles road games since the start of the 2016 season, and it's 12-3 when the Eagles are a road underdog. Obviously, this goes back to when Doug Peterson took over as the team's head coach. The over is also 19-8 in Bills home games since the start of the 2016 season. So same time period, Bills home games are going over, Eagles road games are going over, and it's also 11-4 in Bills home games when they are favored. So those two trends combined would strongly suggest that we may be in store for this one to go over 44 points. Conversely, though, just one quick word on the under. It is 17-9 when the total is set between 42 and 43.5 as we see it here, and the home team is favored by 3 points or less in non-conference games. Obviously, the Bills are from the AFC, Eagles an NFC squad, so be aware of that. Really no play for me on the total this week. And though it does require a little bit of a stomach, I think that the Eagles have some experience with their backs up against the wall. They showed in 17 and in 18. That's when they're at their best. I think that they rebound in this spot and beat not a team that I would call a fraud, but a Buffalo team that has had a pretty light schedule thus far. I think that the Eagles are a little bit of a different animal. They're battle-tested. They have a lot of big game experience, and I do think that that comes into play this week. I will take the Eagles with the 2.5 points on Sunday. Now, if you want a full betting preview of this Eagles-Bills game, along with some of the top college games and top NFL games this weekend, head over to crossingbroad.com. Take a look at our full betting previews. Also, again, if you're in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, head over to crossingbroad.com/FB, download Fox Bet. They'll give you $20, and then they will also match your first deposit up to $100.